What's up, guys? This is the tank as I last left it. I'm back from vacation. We can now start painting. Let's go. A key step before painting any model, of course, is to prime the model. For this, I chose to use Tamiya's gray primer, and simply I just sprayed around trying to highlight as many areas as I could. If you're new to model making, I've seen a couple comments I've gotten, people asking why do I use primer, and the reason for this is because primer is an extra layer on top of the model so that paint does not chip. One more step before I started painting the color of the tank is I did some pre-shading. For pre-shading, all I do is I take thinned down Tamiya flat black paint and I just kind of create these fake shadows over any lines that I see, really. And for this, I focused more on the engine bay actually because I thought that would give the most shadow. And I think in the final product it kind of worked. You can see for yourself and let me know what you guys think. After appreciating the tank, I wanted to quickly appreciate the figure, and again I just gave this a big fat coat of black paint, and this will create shadows for the figure. Alright, so for painting, for this tank I decided to use AV Vallejo's Russian Green, and I can't lie, I'm not really a big fan of using Vallejo paints. Something about them just doesn't work too well in any airbrush that I've used, and this paint went on really thinly. This took like 2 to 3 coats to fully make sure that there was no gray primer showing, that there was no pre-shading showing, and I mean, it's fine. It was just one color I had to do, but I would rather use something like Tamiya or maybe Mr. Hobby. Just, I don't know, I've never had a great experience with AV Vallejo paints. And so after everything was painted, I simply then put on the commander's hatch. And so, while working on this tank, I watched a video about a guy who was weathering a different model. What I used to do was I would gloss coat and then start weathering. Now, what this guy did was he started doing a little bit of chipping and then gloss coating. So, before I gloss coat, I wanted to do a little mixture of dark rust, light rust, and silver chipping. Doing this was pretty simple. I just took a sponge and tweezers and then lightly dipped it in the paint, brushed off the excess, and then chipped it all around. And I mean, damn! I think this actually looks pretty good. I'm very happy with how this silver chipping came out. Now that we got a gloss coat on, we can now start to decal. And now you may be like me and think, these decals look pretty good. Nope. I got some video of me trying to take on one of these decals, and you can see it's like the back paper stuck onto the decal itself in the water, and it is not a good fit at all. It looks terrible. I threw away those decals, and I had to now get crafty. I found these from a Tamiya T-72, and I decided to use just the numbers for them, and boom! These decals went on with no problems. Looks pretty good. I'm not complaining. You're not complaining, hopefully. It looks fine. Alright, now comes for the part that I dread the most about tanks. Doing the tracks. So, I'm gonna be honest, however. The first side of tracks actually went on pretty well. I didn't have too many problems. For some reason, the next side of doing them, I was sitting here for maybe an hour and a half trying to get the top and the bottom of these tracks to connect. Now, for the process of gluing these tracks, I used super glue. I simply took a toothpick and I just kind of slathered it all around the bottom of the track marks, because this is the bottom of the track, so this will just go into the wheels and you won't see any of the super glue, hopefully. But this worked fine. Just get it on there, and then for the next parts I would just take more super glue and just kind of put it in where the tracks connect and hope for the best. So after wasting about an hour and a half on the other side of the tracks, I can finally now glue down the hull. For this process, I also just took super glue, took a toothpick, and I just lathered it all along the bottom. And then with that done, here is now both halves finally glued together. And unfortunately, this is the last footage you will see from my camera. I got back from the cruise and my camera stopped working. It doesn't turn on, so we're gonna have to switch to my iPhone now. And if anyone knows how to fix a camera from not turning on, I would appreciate that. Let me know. Other than that, let's continue with the weathering. Okay, so now I'm going to try something that I've never done before. I've seen so many videos of people doing this, and that is streaking with oil paints. For this, I chose to do a kind of rust color, so I have this yellow, however you pronounce that last name, foil paint. And for this, what I did was I took a paintbrush, dipped it in the paint, and then I did these little dots all around the tank of what I wanted to kind of streak. I let those sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I took odorless thinner on a different paintbrush and then just dragged down on the surface. And the final result, it doesn't look too bad. I can definitely improve on this, but for my first time ever doing this, I'm kind of happy with how this is turning out. After that was done, I had the brilliant idea to do it again. So this time I took one of the however you say that, Aptolong 502 paints, and this was Starship Filth. And for this, I did the same process and just streaked it down. And this doesn't look too bad. It's more like a dark, kind of like grimy, sort of rust color, kind of just grimy color, and I like how it came out. Now that the top side is all done, I can now focus on the wheels. And for this, I will use pigments. Now, these are Vallejo pigments, and I love using these things. I've been using them for about 3 to 4 years now, and for the wheels, I will use Desert Dust. And what I do is I just take a brush and I just get it all around the wheels. This earlier, but it's also important to get that pigment dust behind where the wheels are into the base of the tank itself. For the second pigment, I used Burnt Umber, and I did this on the engine bay. Now, I do this because I think it gives it a more worn look on the engine area, and I think it turns out not too bad. So, when I do engines, I also use this. This is Vallejo's Engine Grease. Now, what is this? I haven't touched this in maybe a couple months, and I opened the jar to find this. So with that ruined, I used this instead. This is AK's aircraft engine oil, and it's a similar effect to the tank engine oil stuff. It's just a little more watery, I think, but all I did was took a paintbrush and then just lathered the engine all around, wiped away the excess, and what you get is some pretty cool looking engine stains. With that part knocked out, I was now going to do some touch-ups on the tank commander. And of course I used the wrong shade of black. There we go. Much better. one more final thing to do. Now, I'm sure throughout this whole video, you've noticed that the driver's port has no clear parts for his lookout area. Have no fear, I have a solution. This is one of my good friends called Micro Crystal Clear. I use it for canopies. Now, what this does is it dries clear, as in the name. So what I'm going to do is take a small toothpick, get a little bit of glue on it, and then just build up just a small layer around the port. Now what this does is when it dries clear, it'll look like there's a piece of see-through plastic in the port and create that visual. Now that that part is done, I can now give the T-72 a flat coat and then call it a day with this thing. Before I show you guys the final result, I want to say thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. We've almost hit, what, 60 followers already? I mean, that's pretty good. Thank you guys. Please like and subscribe, and there will be more videos very soon. I have something planned already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.
Wir verzeichnen schwere Verluste. Lass den Motor laufen. Lasst sie Blei fressen, Männer!